Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Screen Chronicles. I'm Steve. With me, as always, is Colby Ralph. And today we have a very special guest on. You likely know her from the new hit season of The Last Kingdom, Lady Aelswith, Eliza Butterworth.
Woo!
Thanks for coming back on.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. Honestly, as I said earlier, I miss you guys so much. And this is such an honor to get to talk to you again. Honestly, this is amazing.
We're so excited to have you on. Thank you again for taking the time. Well, how have you been?
I have been so well, thank you. I've been really, really well. If anything, like I can speak for the whole cast of Last Kingdom. We have just been so shocked by the amazing reception of season 5. Like I've now finished all the episodes and I was watching them really slowly because I just thought I need to savor this because I am a big fan myself. I know that sounds silly. I know I'm in it, but I don't get to watch a lot of my fellow actors do their thing until I see it on the TV. We'll chat about it over dinner. Maybe they've just come back from the scene. And I'm like, oh my God, how did that big stabbing scene go? And they're like, oh man, and they'll sort of tell me over dinner. And then I know that in a few months' time, I'm going to actually get to see it. So as a fan of the show, I'm like, whoa, and I get to watch it, and I was just blown away by every single performance.
Oh my God!
I think I don't know. I just feel very honored and humbled that I've been involved in this show, and just to get to watch everybody really grow. Like all the actors are really all grown up, and I don't know. There's such a development that's gone on. I feel like everybody's really in their own self, and the performances are so complex, but they're so nuanced. I know there's just a lot going on, and I was just like, whoa. So I've been very happy and very overwhelmed with that, and just so overwhelmed by our incredible fans. That's the first thing I want to say, is because they are extraordinary. Like, we are so shocked because it's because of their love and the support and everything that, the season 5 has done so well. So yeah, we're totally blown away.
Well, I also think, spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't seen season 5. This is the last season, and you guys, I think you nailed a last season, though. I think that's a big part of why it is doing well, because not to take shots at Game of Thrones, but the ending was not well loved by everyone, right? So I mean, this season, I think everyone was very happy with the ending,
From what we've heard so far too. Yeah, totally.
Definitely. If someone could tell me, ask me, sum up the season 5 words, I'd be like, your heart will be broken. That's my words. Will make you feel, because we were asked that a lot. Sum up the season 5 words. I'm like, the anguish, but it literally be your heart will be broken, because mine was, and I was like, oh, I couldn't handle it. Oh my God. I think as well, because we're a big family. I know everybody so it's just seeing, and not to spoil it for anyone, but just seeing Alexander at the end as Uhtred, and whoa, that's one of the last times he's gonna stand there and do that, and I just got the shivers. It was just like, bam, it was so upsetting, but also beautiful, and I just was awash with love for the show and everybody that's come before it. I love that there was, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I can say spoilers.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. Yep. Already threw a spoiler up. Yep.
Beautiful. So anyway, so-and-so dies. Just go to every spoiler. But this beautiful tribute to all of the phenomenal characters that we've so loved, like Alfred and Ethelwald and oh my God, I was like, I couldn't take it. It was
that's what I mean. It just feels like not only did the show hit all the things that you want for closure, and it felt good, but it felt like it really acknowledged and it gave stuff to the fans without just being nostalgia filled. It was definitely oh yeah, here you go. Here's this delicious thing you've always wanted, and here's a little flashback to that moment that you loved before, And
I feel like Uhtred's finally with that last flashback scene, getting the chance to recognize all of the people that helped him on his journey. That moment, I mean, all those flashbacks are just amazing.
I completely agree. And then I think that's something so beautiful. I think the character of Uhtred is what makes the show so special, because he's like none other. He's a superhero, he's a warrior, he's a father, he's a true friend, he's a forgiver, he's a fighter. He can do anything. He can literally do anything. And I'm going to first and foremost say it. Alexander Draymond is the most sensational actor I think I've ever watched in my life. I was watching every episode and going, what can he not do?
I know.
because when he like feels the feels, he feels the feels, and you feel it with him. Like if somebody dies, if somebody, anything happens, and all the deaths that you think Uhtred has experienced throughout his entire life is monumentously horrific, yet the guy still has all the compassion to carry on and fight for people that often don't even see his value. So like that happened a lot with King Alfred, and then even King Edward, the phenomenal Timothy Innes, so King Edward's character, that whole thing of like, again, him not quite being valued up until the end, and even then it's, wait, but what, you need to do more for me, you need to, and it's like, damn, and yet he still carries on. Honestly, any other normal person would be like, right, fuck you all, I'm out of here. Like, drop the mic. I'm sorry. I'm
going for a new career path.
Yes.
I need a new job.
Exactly. But he would just relentlessly just like goes, I'm going to follow my heart. This is the right thing. And I'm like, geez. And he sort of tries to please everyone underneath this umbrella of chaos. And like, he's even got Breeder at his door. And even then, when he had the chance to just kill her and end it all, he still forgave her and thought, no, I'm going to give you one more chance. That's how big his heart is. And like, Alexander just blows me away. And I know I just have to say it because he is our lead character and he is just mind-blowing. He even directed episode two. I mean, he has been at the front of everything, all the decisions as well in the show, and like where characters go, he's so active in the entire story. And then Bernard Cornwell, who obviously wrote the novels about him, then dedicated like his last book to Alexander.
Oh, that was amazing.
Warlord to him,
Warlord.
Right, and it's just gorgeous. So that's just me. I just have to get that out of the way because,
of course,
the more I watch the season, the more I'm just like, what this man can do it all. And I will say he's like the hardest working person, and he, like, in all the battles, he just doesn't stop. He is just go, and the horse riding and he just blows me away. I honestly can't get over it, really.
That's what I was saying before. Like, I feel like, Uhtred is obviously the greatest warrior of all time, but I feel like at this point too, Alexander Draymond, like, he's got to be like, if a Viking came after him now, like, I'm pretty sure he'd do pretty well.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know. We've been talking about that. Like, we were talking about the fight with Breda and how like Alexander Draymond himself is like a warrior now. It's amazing.
He's a warrior. He is that one. I'm just so proud of him, and I think him especially saying goodbye to the whole sort of world of the Last Kingdom. Obviously, there's the film. Thank goodness, there's the film.
I know that was like our saving grace.
Saving grace. That there was like Uhtred could wear serpent breath one more time. There was this kind of like, but it's not completely over, because it's so devastating, but also beautiful. The end of season 5, but just to know that there's one more chapter.
Oh my god!
Is just, for me as a fan. I am like so happy about that, and it's just, I'm so proud of him. It's crazy. But we're all mad proud of each other. Like, we have like a WhatsApp chat. We're like, damn, like, I love that scene. And I often say to Aston, who plays Sigtrygger, I'm like, I think you're my favorite actor on the planet. Like, I'll always message him like, you are unbelievable. We're all in all together, for sure.
And he had what an amazing job he did this season. But I wanted to ask you a little bit about like what your reaction was when you heard that season 5 was going to be the last season. What was like going through your mind?
In a way, I think we all sort of saw it coming, in a sense.
Okay.
I remember when like we got a season 2 or 3 back in the day, we were so shocked that we were carrying on, and like it was such a quality show with such extraordinary actors, but we weren't sure, because I feel like we had a beautiful, amazing fan base, like a really fantastic, like, a group of people who loved it, but it felt like maybe it wasn't out there enough. And then somehow season 4 just came, and maybe it was because of lockdown, and I do think the show just was just getting better and better and better, and people were really listening, about it and wanted to see what it was all about. And it just then took off. So knowing that it was the last one with season 5 in some ways was bittersweet, because it was like we were just getting on this like journey of people going, oh, we've now gotten on the bandwagon, we're really enjoying it, and we've now all heard about it. So nice. But if anything, I think it's a good place to end, because it ended with such a bang, with such like love around it. People have been so kind and supportive. Like, I'm so just like overwhelmed by it all, really. And I think it was a beautiful way to end it, and to know that then there's just this like small extra chapter coming is just like a little cherry on the top. If anything, we ended in a great way. I think sometimes with shows if they draw it out and, you know, things maybe the quality maybe reduces. I don't know. I know that I don't, you know, who's to say what will happen to a show, but I just feel like something feels good about, there's like a wholesome,
yes,
and like Alexander to direct episode 2, like all of that just fitted into place so beautifully. So I think it was obviously, we were heartbroken to say goodbye to each other that way, but it couldn't have gone any better in terms of that was our bow and good night. Like it couldn't have been any better in that sense. So no, we were just so proud of it and so happy, and it's crazy. So.
Yeah, like, did you guys know then that you would have a movie when it was told that you would have season 5? They're like, oh, you also get a movie, or did you find out later?
No, until like nearly the end of season 5, if not kind of, it wasn't really even, there was like chat about it, like rumors are sort of flying around whilst we were filming season 5, but towards the end, and we were like, oh, we'll just have to wait and see. And obviously also the pandemic was quite a big thing back then, so we thought maybe that will restrict things, and obviously things have evolved, so that luckily filming is a little bit easier. And then basically then by the time we all got back home and at that point season 4 was coming out, oh wait, hold on a minute, now I'm thinking back at where it was. Oh no, maybe we knew a little bit before. Now my brain has stopped working and I can't remember whether I knew before. Maybe I did know before. Okay, now I'm not making any sense. Well, somebody knew. and I now made it. And I have to say as well, I have had a conflict of scheduling. So I was due to be in the film, and it gutted me because I got another job, which is the one I'm currently on now. I'm working in Tenerife, and that was the scheduling conflict. So unfortunately, I'm not in the film. We tried I know they tried everything to get the scheduling to work, but again, due to COVID and flying, the film of The Last Kingdom takes place in Budapest, and where I currently am now in Tenerife, they were just so worried about things happening. Unfortunately, but I do think Aelswith went out of the band. So again, I couldn't be more pleased of her crazy character progression.
You know what? We're sad to hear that. Obviously, we love seeing you on screen. You come so far. I mean, looking back to season 1, to think that you would be spending, and now because of what you just told me, I'm always going to imagine Aelswith with her feet up on a seaside view in a Bedminster suite.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you've got to imagine. She is in the film, but she's just chilling. Like, she doesn't need to be in the action anymore. She's killed a guy. She's done her dues. She's just chilling, looking at her sea views. So she's in the film, but she's looking at her sea views.
She's there somewhere, but she's just chilling and doesn't need to be part of any of that. Not the drama. She's done with the drama.
Exactly. She's eating Saxon cookies. She's having Saxon milk. She's just chilling.
Absolutely. Well, you just talked a lot about how Uhtred has this amazing hero, but we cannot forget about what you did in season 4. And we talked a lot about it the last time you were on the podcast, about how you were kind of a hero several times that season. Well, that happens again this season. You actually have a really critical role at the end of the season in going to get Steora, obviously escaping from Brezel, but then going to get Steora, which ultimately bringing them there is what won the battle. So once again, Aelswith coming up key.
She's nifty. She's got some tricks up her sleeve. We'll give her that. I was so shocked, Colby, because I think I don't know, Aelswith is such a hilarious character to me because she's like always meddling, kind of where she shouldn't be.
Right.
But this time it worked out. Like, she kind of probably still shouldn't have been meddling, but you kind of think, oh, thank God you're such a nosy like meddler. And if anything, her heart has gotten bigger as the season's gone on. So after she lost Alfred, she got awashed with how, a lot of her decisions and her sort of ideas about people weren't always in keeping with who they are, because she was always trying to follow her God. That is one thing. I don't actually think Aelswith is a malicious person. I think she's dutiful. So her whole time was, I just want, my husband and, our kingdom to flourish. That's all she ever wanted, but that was under the rule of God. So for her, that there was only one linear route to get there. And so anyone that tried to get in the way of that linear path was therefore a threat, therefore needed to be wiped out or something.
Right.
So although it was, it looked quite vicious, I think for her, trying to speak here because she's quite sociopathic for the first 3 seasons, but in my mind, I think she just was just making sure that didn't waver, that amazing mission, and she so believed in her husband and what they had to fulfill. So then coming into season 4, and she doesn't have King Alfred, but she has her incredible children. It's like, instead of the duty being on Alfred, it goes to her children. But then there becomes more compassion there because she's already seen such loss. She's already seen how maybe things can go so wrong. And so I feel like she starts to focus more on the things that do matter, that being obviously family. And she's always loved her family, of course, that's one thing that can never be taken from her. But now it comes with more love, I feel. And so seeing the scenes when I read the scenes between Aelswith and Ethelfled, even, I was like, what? Can I just say that Millie Brady is one of the most phenomenal actors. Honestly, she completely blew my mind. Every single scene that she was in, literally broke my heart into pieces. And when we were all filming those scenes and knowing that she was going to leave the show, in episode 4, that the character dies, we were just like, damn. And we were all genuinely just ripped to pieces on set. We were like, this is awful. So anyway, doing the scenes with Ethelfled, all that kind of stuff. That then leads Aelswith to really fight for them what's right. And then that's what then leads into the Aelfwyn stuff, her granddaughter. Right. It's so cool that they trusted that character to actually take on more of a kind of, I don't know what the word is, but like, I suppose an active part in solving the plot, in a sense. Or
you had a lot of emotional moments, I would say, instead of political stuff was where Aelswith was before with meddling, but now it was a lot of emotional connections, and then of course the motivation then to Edward at the end too, the sort of pep talk, and what was it like doing those emotional scenes with Millie Brady, with her death and those moments?
Honestly, she just is sensational. And every scene I watched her in, I was like, what? Because there were obviously a few that I got to do alongside her, but then there were loads, like the ones with her and Edith, a gorgeous Stephanie Martini, who was absolutely magnificent. Both of them in their scenes were just stunning. And it was just so moving, and it kind of came out of nowhere in a sense. It wasn't the thing we expected to read, even as the actors, reading it in the scripts. And so acting alongside Millie was just gorgeous. And it's always been so fun playing her mum, because we always discuss, I obviously am the same age as her and also the same age as Tim. And so being their mother is always quite hilarious, but I think it reads, we believe it, and it's not necessarily we believe it, but just there's something about the writing and the way we're obviously doing it, but you do sort of believe that. And I almost have got a weird maternal streak over both of them in that sense. Some, not really, but in a sense, there's on set anyway, when we're getting into character and stuff, I totally feel so maternal over them both. And then so nice to be a grandma, just to add to the craziness of it all. Grandma of boys who are up here, and Aelfwyn, amazing Thea. So I loved those scenes. I actually really enjoy emotional scenes. Weirdly, awesome. I feel quite comfortable with those, because there was one in season 1, episode 7, where me baby Edward. Remember, that was the first emotional scene I'd ever done on screen in my life. I'd only done a couple of TV jobs before that. I'd never cried on a TV show or anything. I still didn't really know what I was doing, honestly. Season 1, I was like, what is this? It was so scary. And then getting to do an emotional scene, I just felt like, quite comfortable in it. So when those ones came along, I was, I really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. And it was interesting too, because I feel like you and Ethelfled, your roles sort of reversed in the fact that at the end of season 4, totally thought maybe Aelswith was going to go in the first couple episodes. And no, she comes and shows us her tongue. There's no white. That was hilarious, by the way.
That's ridiculous.
But staying on the emotional scenes, I'd love to chat with you a little bit about that one with you and Uhtred. After Ethelfled dies, this is a scene that a lot of, when we've done our video recaps, or episode recaps, a lot of people have been calling this scene out as one of their favorites of the episode. And talking about you and Alex's acting in this episode, in this scene. So could you talk maybe about your approach to this scene and what it was like to do it?
Well, that's so kind. That's so kind. I think, like, again, the writing of that scene was so cool because I think it allowed this whole journey of Aelswith and her duty to God to be the thing that actually was the crux of it. But then within that was then he kind of is there to tell her, look, Ethelflaed's died, but she's just like, no, don't tell me. And then it dawns on her. That's why he's, and I think what's so gorgeous is that we see their bond. Like, he puts his hand on my shoulder, and it's so gorgeous to see her take his hand, because we've seen just such a, conflicting tension and just animosity between them over every single season. You always just, even me as a fan, I'll watch and be like, dude, like just be nice to him. Like, I am the one playing her, but even I am like, come on now, but it was in the script. It's my job. It's my job. So it's the sense that, you always have to have obviously protagonists and antagonists. And what's so gorgeous is that then just that through the evolution of her growing up and losing so many people and now losing her daughter, just to add to the heartbreak, it's like, whoa. And to know that both of them loved her so much. That's what's so stunning, is that you see, although they're completely the opposite of each other, Uhtred and Aelswith, they had this exact same love for this exact same person that they've both just lost. So you can't deny then there's this beautiful bond. And what's gorgeous is that bond then carries through the rest of the season, where she goes, I'm following Uhtred. Your father would follow Uhtred. This is just like a stunning, coming together then of these two people who were so, against one another. And now it's just, I don't know, it just gives me hope for humanity,
Yes.
I'm like, we could all get along.
If Aelswith can accept Uhtred, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
No, I'm just kidding. No. But it's so cool to see her growth and Aelswith growth, because it's not that happened all of a sudden. That's built over the seasons, and Uhtred sort of proven himself and micro-dosed, to Aelswith. I feel like just kind of built up to the point where she's like, can I stay in bed? At the end, which is like, wow.
To think that she says that, I would use it. Just it couldn't be more perfect, that ending line between them. And that he's looking at her like, I don't think we're that close, but oh God, okay, I guess, which is just so cute. But to do that emotional scene, especially with, Alexander, who I've worked with since season 1, I've watched him grow into Uhtred. It's just like, sit there with him. It honestly was kind of thrilling and exhilarating and, spine tingling. But this hilarious practical side, which will crack you up, I learned the wrong lines for that scene. So that scene, as actors, we get like a read through draft first.
Okay.
So that's like the sort of beginning ideas. It usually kind of sticks to that mold, but a lot of the lines change, and sometimes they even change the plot. Sometimes they'll change, this character's going to do that instead of this character. So anyway, I had this read through script, and it was like a physical script, and I was learning, it was a lot of lines for that scene. I was learning it off of that, and I just kept that script in my apartment in Budapest, and for some reason I didn't check the updated scripts. We constantly get updated scripts on email. I just kept looking at my little book. Anyway, we got to set, and they're like, okay, brilliant. Let's just, this is a very emotional scene. So we're all going to be quite quiet. We're all going to be, really respectful. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, Eliza, if you begin, let's start the dialogue. And I just start. And they were like, I don't know what that. And I just keep going in this monologue. And Alex is going, no. I don't know why you're saying. And I was like, oh, but wait, but then I say the thing about that, and he's like, no, that's not in the script. And I was like, oh, and then I whipped out my little book, and I was like, well, but it is. I've been, this is what I've done. And they went, look at the front, Eliza, and I went, oh, it's the read through draft. So anyway, on that day, it got a little bit scary because I had to then cobble 2 scenes together. So they let me keep a bit of the original one, but they were like, we also need you to infuse these new lines. We have to say these new things about Elfwin and I was like, okay. So on that day, I actually kind of didn't know my lines because they were brand new. So if anything, I was absolutely petrified. And each take, I just kept thinking in my head, just don't fuck up your lines. Just like, remember that line. There's that bit about the thingy. So if anything, I was so prepared, but for the wrong thing, that I was so underprepared for the actual scene. So that's the funny practical side of it, is that I actually in the moment didn't know what I was doing. So I'm glad that somehow it read okay, because honestly, I went home that day and just went, that's such a pivotal scene for us both. And how come although Alexander was so cute about it, he was just giggling. He was like, that's so classic you. And I was like, yeah, of course I did that. So,
that's why Aelswith just keeps yelling, like, don't say anything. Just
don't say anything. I don't even know the line. Okay? Right. Don't say nothing, because you're going to put me off of the trajectory I'm already at, and I don't even know my lines. Oh my God.
Yeah. That was an awesome scene, though. It was really good, emotional.
Oh my
There's
God,
like this theme of like redemption and faith and all this stuff this season, which was pretty new, and it was pretty interesting for Aelswith to sort of be like, hey, like I've been like a dick to people because of this, and like now my daughter's gone, and like I'm trying as hard as I can.
And where are you, God, right now? Why won't you talk to me right now when I need you most?
All the time. Yeah, this is exactly it. And I think that's so beautiful that they linked it to her duty to God, and that, you know, it felt like she's already lost Alfred, but maybe in her head she was like, well, that was maybe the duty, that was maybe he, you know, he was taken, because therefore we had, you know, Edward had to take over, and for the duty of the kingdom. There's so many things, but now it just seems to her illogical now, and it's not fair. And it now is just a mother, without being anyone who has a duty to God. As a mother, she's just, her heart's been ripped out, and she's just done with that side of things. And she's still obviously extremely godly, extremely pious, still throughout the rest of it, but just in that moment she's been so let down by something that she put all her energy into, and that's just and I almost feel like Father Purelick, who's played by the fabulous Kevin Cracker, who's amazing, he has a lot of themes like that alongside Breeder about you know, will God help you, will he be there? And, you know, Purelick saying yes, and she's going, well, where's my daughter? And so if anything, we're in a really similar boat, Breeder and I, because there's a lot of like mother-daughter relationships that shine through in this season, especially, which I just love. This idea that I've lost my daughter and I'm going, where were you? And Breeder's lost her daughter and going, you've never been, why should I believe he's even here? Why should I even? So it's so beautiful that there's a weird correlation between those two characters, two very, you know, powerful women who both lost their powerful daughters, both struggling with this concept that somebody's going to help. It feels like nobody's there to help. So they're both like challenging the same idea of who's going to help me. I've lost her. She's not back. And then it's gorgeous, even with Ethelfled and Aelfwin, their mother and daughter relationship is gorgeous. Thea Saban, who plays Aelfwin, is mind-blowingly amazing. And this was like one of her first ever TV jobs, can I just say? Like, I think it was her first TV. I think it was her first job, like kind of from graduating from drama school. So she was phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. And I loved their dynamic as well, because you really see Ethelfled growing up, because she's always, you know, she's telling Aelfwin off because Aelfwin's running around, you know, not really taking things seriously, doesn't really realize what's about to hit her. So it's quite, you know, amazing to see their dynamic, and almost what I then had with Ethelfled. Aelswith had with Ethelfled. So I just love all the mother and daughter and all the family themes and relationships, because then you've got Uhtred and his children. That's a huge theme, obviously, with young Uhtred and what's happening to him, and Stiora, you know, fighting back against him, and he's dealing with all of that. So it's all these parental child, you know, dynamics that make the show so interesting and cool.
Yeah, absolutely. You make a great point too with the correlation, because you and Brita are equally devout in your own religions, and you both just have moments where you question it. Brita like was surprisingly questioning it, like, because almost converting, I thought, like at times I was like, but it was really a cool theme, and like along with the parental thing that you're talking about, season 4 was huge in you sort of facilitating. It's
like you say the word felicity.
Facilitated the Ethelstan as a child, and keeping him safe, and kind of pushing him more toward a kingly path. And you don't have a million scenes with him this season, but you do at the beginning. There's a moment where you and Harry Gilby have a moment where you just seem so proud of him, and that was cool to see. because you really made that happen in season 4.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so sweet to see. I mean, sweet in some ways, but also looking back at season 4, when I think that she let Ethelstan's mother, Edwin, see him and then went, okay, I'm taking him now. It's just unnecessarily cruel. I was like, oh no, Aelswith, why are you guys? It looks like you're doing the right thing, and then she just does something kind of, just hilariously cruel. But yeah, so lovely to then see Ethelstan grow up, and he's a phenomenal character. Harry Gilby is absolutely incredible. And I love everything Ethelstan did in this season. All his fights as well. He was just extraordinary. And so lovely that we get to see this young man now grow up and will eventually, even in history, from our research as past, we know that Ethelstan was technically kind of like the first king of England, like the first sort of established, king of England that we sort of know about. But it was the Alfred and Edward's direction pushed that
100%.
the kingdom and form and everything. So it's so cool to see that that's where the next chapter's kind of going. And yes, but lovely that Aelswith definitely had a huge part to play in that for sure. Making sure that he, being kind of the rightful heir to the throne was then involved, because obviously Ethelhelm, who we know is real naughty, and he is obviously the villain of season 4 and the major villain of season 5. And Adrian Schiller, because I know these people as my best friend, so like he's extraordinary. Like again, I didn't get to work with him very much. In fact, I don't think I had any scenes with him in season 5. Whereas in season 4, we're always doing crazy stuff together. But season 5, I didn't see his stuff until I saw his stuff with everybody else. And I was just like,
turned it up a notch. Oh my God. He's always been amazing. He has always been amazing, but he like transcended this season to.
Yeah.
I agree. He completely transcended this. You're so right, because you watch him and you're just like, what? Everything he does, it's all the calculating, the manipulating, and so crazy that even with his character, we see him being heartbroken by a lost daughter. I mean, this season shouldn't be called The Last Kingdom. It should be called The Last Daughter. Whose daughter is going to survive? There'll be one last daughter that survives this frigging show.
I know.
Everybody's daughters are just, and so we see even with him, all he cared about was that his grandson would take the throne, who's also my grandson, that being Aelfred, who's played by the fabulous Ewan Horrocks, who's just amazing. So again,
he's such a victim of circumstance too.
Yes. God, I felt so sorry for him. He's just in the middle of a really crappy situation, and
not a bad person at all. Like his grandfather, he's just is a kid who's trying to follow and thinks he should be king. And
in a way, I don't blame him for feeling like alienated by his father, like this whole thing of Edward immediately marrying Lady Aelswith and like just moving on. I guess that I can see why you'd be like, whoa, okay then. And then Ethelhelm goes great, and then sort of plays off of how this young man must be feeling, and it's like, no. And then I love that then the two grandsons meet at the end to basically annihilate Ethelhelm. It's that, Alfred and Ethelstan are there in Bebbanburg, and he's sort of, trying to run away and scrambling. And it's that those two are finally up against him going, right, we've had it with you, buddy. And, he's like, tell him what you, and I was like, oh my God. But so Ethelhelm being phenomenal, and him basically playing the biggest part. And I love that all the characters do intertwine, because then you've got his stuff, but then he gets hold of my granddaughter, Aelswith. So just when you think it can't get any more complicated, he has a hold of her, obviously, in order to be King Constantine's wedding gift, if you like, so that he can then play with the idea of then, the Scottish king being involved. And, there's so much going on. Now that I'm thinking,
it's so much.
Damn.
I know. It's so good. And speaking of Aelfwin too, you have a scene with her. Obviously, you're trying to keep her safe and get her married to Cynlif. There's a moment where you're talking to her about love, and she's asking you about love. And then you start going into some details about a little bit more than just love.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Grandma, no.
Grandma. Grandma.
Funny. When one feels the tremors of male affection.
Yes. Grandma. Oh, we died.
When I read that, I was like, oh my God. There were so many hilarious lines. Like when obviously in episode 7, after the killing of Bressel, where she's like, I slaughtered a man with my bare hands.
Oh, we got to talk about this.
That's so funny. Like, I remember again, there's so many lines in this script that for all the characters where we were just like, this is amazing. Like, I really feel like they injected so much humor in it because I suppose because the season was so heartbreaking, there's so much loss. Every episode there was a loss. It was just like,
it was like a big death per episode. Like we were going through it. Like it's
literally, it's like, how much more can the fans take? How much more can the audience take? And this was just so, heartbreaking. So it was nice that in those little glimmers we had the really funny moments, which I just loved.
Yeah, the funny moments.
You took on like a huge comedic role. I mean, I think you might have had more funny scenes than Finn in this season, to be honest.
I think you may have.
Yeah.
Finn, oh my God. But Mark Rowley, he's the king of comedy. He's the king of everything. He is, hands down, Finn is literally one of my favorite characters in the entire saga of Last Kingdom. He is so brilliant. He is just like the best friend. He's like the best warrior. He's such a true, authentic, sweet man. And that's Mark Rowley in real life as well. So it's really gorgeous watching him as Finn, because I'm like, that's like Mark is just as fabulous and amazing. And I love, oh my God, Finn is just too funny.
I didn't know he could do such a good Scottish accent. That really
imagine. He's secretly, wow, what a good Scottish accent he can do. I know what you mean. He is crazy. He's like both Celtic things, but like, no, he's a proud Scottish man is proud. He's fabulous. But we all just shocked by the comedy of it, and like they place the comedy in really good parts. Like to think just after she's killed someone that she's almost just so cocky that she now is like at one with the warriors. She's like, well, I'm also a superhero figure, because in the first 3 seasons especially, Aelswith for sure is conniving and she's calculating, but her missions are usually done from an intellectual place. And now it came from an active warrior place, this sense of okay, the only way to defend and save these people around me is to kill. So it's almost, she definitely then feels at one with Uhtred, because after killing someone, you can never take that back. That's something Uhtred's very used to, but as a warrior, as someone who's always in battles and saving people constantly, that the idea to kill for somebody that you love or to save, it's like, oh, I get that mentality now. It's almost like she 100% can almost sink herself into what he believes, because it's what he does all the time. It's like, oh, I get it now. So that's kind of nice.
I love the scene before that too, when you're like showing off your dagger skills.
It's so cute. It's so funny to see her doing that, because she has become such a infamously kind of not a bad character, but she's like someone who's you roll your eyes at when she says things, but now it's for the best reasons. So it's really lovely that's come around. It's like full circle. But she is a bit bonkers, and but in this case she's right, and in this case she did do the right thing, and she did luckily save Edith, and she's tried to save Elf, and obviously she gets captured again. That was then so heartbreaking. After all of that, she gets taken on the horse. And it's like, no, we just fought off the most situation, and now you've just taken her. But so cool that again she goes to Edward, and she's just always fighting for what she believes is right. So that's
totally. And
what was her lines after too? Like I feel like
she said, I felt like the Saint Michael the Archangel.
He slew Satan's armies. Something with the knife.
That's awesome.
So funny. Again, the scripts were amazing. Like he would read them and be like, what? So we also lived all in a big house together in Budapest. There was probably 30 of us, maybe a bit less, but we would often then read the scripts together, or we'd all get them through the emails at the same time. And then we'd be texting each other, oh my God, have you seen what happens in episode 7? So it was really nice to always be together in a way when the scripts came through, because it's very exciting. Totally. As an actor, the most exciting thing, if you are booked in a job, which is obviously so exciting as it is, when the new scripts come through in a season, like this current job I'm on now, we just got a script through the other day, and it's because you get to see, yeah, it's just so cool. It's almost like you're the audience for the first time, because when you first read it, you don't know what's going on. So you're like, okay, you're told this thing, and then you just get to act it out, and then that's obviously the funnest thing ever.
That's a great point, because I noticed that about the script this season. It seemed almost at times like poetry, especially when Ethel was talking. Some of his lines were like, that just sounds medieval. That just is really like, and The Last King's always been good at that, but there's so many creative lines this season, and that was pretty awesome to hear.
It probably adds to the hilarity of like me not knowing my lines just because I learned the wrong lines for that thing. You can't improvise in that text. You can't improvise in that kind of speech because it is so in keeping with that old style of speaking. If it was like modern, I could like, riff it. I can, but the fact that it's written in that incredible way means if you don't know your lines, you're screwed. You cannot improvise unless you're just like, yes, Lord, or something. You can't.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Help out.
Yeah. Now, last time you were on the podcast, we asked you what you wanted from Aelswith going into season 5, if you were going to be going into season 5, and you had told us some kind of like warrior moment or battle moment, or give me the spears, give me the axes, give me the sword. And so we were so excited to see you actually have sort of a battle moment, but like a moment of violence, a moment of saving your daughter and or your granddaughter and Edith. So could you talk about like maybe like the physicality of doing that scene and what that was like to stab Harry Anton in the back of the head?
So Harry Anton played Bressel and Luke Nunn played oh my goodness, why is his name escaped me? The character's names escape me. Oh my goodness. So Bressel's a fabulous like side man. Like he's oh God, why isn't Luke, if you ever watch this, I highly apologize. I don't know why that name's escaped me. But basically they are phenomenal and actually the most hilarious men of all time. So we actually had such a blast. We were in a forest, and I do often think with The Last Kingdom, the sort of places where we go to create the atmosphere for us as the actors. So like being in a forest and it was at nighttime for that particular part of the scene, it was just so magical. So in a way it totally transported you to that place. And what was cool, so we had like a sort of it wasn't even a retractable knife. Sometimes they have retractable knives that plunge into you, but obviously there's like a spring. This one was really cool. They had like it was just kind of a retractable thing, but it had like a green like label on it. So it's for the green screen, so the CGI could then do the sword and everything. But what was crazy is that poor Stephanie, who was incredible, she's our Edith. They had to, obviously when they were filming her, the single was on her and the blood had to like splatter on her every time I plunged the knife into Harry's neck. The blood had to go everywhere, and each time the amazing crew, we had the most amazing crew. It's really hard to get the blood splatter right, so they only had that 1 second, and it's like now, and they had to get the whole thing in one, and each time the blood kept going a bit like too much to the left, so it didn't hit her enough, or too much to the right, and it didn't hit her enough, so she kept having to do this thing, and Harry's having to like strangle her, and we're all just it was so crazy. And
poor Stephanie Martini is just getting choked and just blood thrown on her face the whole day.
It was ridiculous, and I really felt so sorry for her. I was like, this is just nuts. And so then by like the sort of fourth blood one, which was like the last one they could do, we were running out of time. They're like, we can only really fit one more in, so they did it. And again, it still wasn't quite right. So in the end, I think they had to, and this is crazy, Steph actually had to shoot her reaction on a separate day, kind of thing, like the blood splattering bit on a different day. They did it like a few days later, and they didn't even do it in the forest. They like made a little patch of something look like the same forest, and then just did it. So it's crazy. There's movie magic for you, but
that's magic. That's pretty cool.
That last bit was actually filmed afterwards. That was crazy. But no, it was kind of such a fun day. We were really hyper. We were running around, but there was definitely, we were exhausted by the end because, there was so much running and Luke running to the horse and Thea running down the road. And it was just, But it was so brilliant, and I loved it. And I suppose the physicality then of Aelswith, knowing that she's this old lady who's never done it before. It was really nice that we had the most amazing director called Anthony Phillipson, and he was like, "What I want to capture is that you don't know what you're doing, but you've got to do it, and yet you're also conflicted with should I and should I." So there's a really lovely like sequence right before she stabs Bressel, where she is like, Gladwin is Luke's name.
Gladwin.
Bressel and Gladwin. Luke, I got it.
Okay.
If you're watching, it's Gladwin. Bressel and Gladwin. Yeah, you can sort of see that, which is really, really nice. And that she doesn't know what she's doing. And she backs away all like, exhilarated. So that was really, really cool. I felt like one of the Vikings for once. Felt like Heston or something.
Yeah.
Favorite characters of all time.
Of course. And of course, we see his demise this season. But
I know that broke my heart as well. Like, again, Heston is such a sneaky character, but I love him and I just adore Jeppe who plays him. So just this idea of him being so cheeky all the time, though he's a sort of lovable naughty Dane. Like, he's terrible sometimes, but you kind of love that he's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's just fantastic.
And then we love, again, those lines where you're just bragging about the kill and you go back. And
I love the scene too, because it's like Iagathu is like, oh, I'm sure you're tired because, you're old. And you're just like, from killing a man.
From slaughtering a man with my bare hands. And then Ida's like, well, slight exaggeration.
Slight exaggeration. I was not wearing gloves.
Did you ever watch SpongeBob growing up?
SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love SpongeBob.
That just reminded me of the scene in one episode where the guy is like, I ate a bowl of nails for breakfast without any milk.
That's literally what I just SpongeBob that moment.
Yep.
I completely agree. And also, can I just say that Sonia, who plays Lady Aelswith, although none of us can pronounce the character's name, it's Eadgifu, like Eadgifu.
Yeah, I've been saying Eadgifu. I don't know if that's right.
I think it's like we all had our own weird version. Lady, Sonia was like, I don't know, but I don't know her name, so I'm fine. And we like, Lady, was just astonishing. She was phenomenal, and I loved her character. Thought their dynamic was gorgeous, and I have to obviously say Timothy Innes. King Edward was out of this world. Again. He blows my mind. Like, him is completely transformed because he, in real life, is like the chillest, coolest, lovely, sweetest person. Who's the dopest, loveliest guy. And then as King Edward, he obviously has to. I love the character of King Edward because I feel like I can see why he does things. Again, it's like I can see why Aelswith does things. I can see why King Alfred does things. Like these royal, people with a lot of responsibility, they do things out of different, pathways. It's not always what you think it is. They're not just being spiteful. They're not just being vicious. So watching him playing King Edward, I just adored it because he just completely transformed, and he's just so unique, so captivating and magnetic, and like he put so much heart into it. So like that pep talk at the end where I, come to him, I'm like, you're scared because you're scared of your father. You're scared you're not going to fulfill your father's dream, but you are good enough. This is what you're destined for. And so beautiful because to have that moment with him, and that was again one of my favorite scenes to play, I think, in the whole season because I just adored him so much, and again, getting to be his mother is such an honor. And then just his eyes just welling up, and it's just like, damn. Again, there's a king here with so much heart, and I just thought it was extraordinary this season. He had so much to do, and the end of episode 9, I think. No, I can't remember.
8, the one where he gets teamed up on.
So it's a big long scene. We call it Tim's play because
yes, I think it's 8. Mm-hmm.
It was an 8. So that I think that we shot that over 3 days, if I'm not wrong. I think it was 2 or 3. I think it might have been 3. He was so wonderful. He had to be so focused. Everybody was in that scene. We had Alex, we had Arnis, Mark,
and against him too.
The Avengers.
We were all just like, we were just messing around because we only had a couple of lines each, kind of thing. Whereas Tim had like pages worth of lines. And he had to keep his focus amongst us we were like throwing axes against, the war. We would just be so like crazy.
Yeah.
And but obviously during when it was ready to then do the take, we'd obviously all settle down. But even amidst that, he had to keep that focus and the energy and had to remember so much. And I just was totally blown away by him. And I really loved his relationship with, Sonia, who plays, their dynamic was gorgeous, those characters. Yeah.
We've really loved King Edward and Timothy Innes since he came in season 3. We're very frustrated with him in season 4 because of the decision. Timothy Innes did a wonderful job, but we were sad what his character was given.
Yeah.
But we were so incredibly satisfied with what he was given this season, even though it wasn't always what we wanted him to do. Sometimes it was still like always a good kingly decision. It seemed
more like Alfred. Like
he was like Alfred.
Where he was coming from. And, and he just fucking killed it all the time. Every scene.
God, every scene. And again, I think that was what was so gorgeous. So Tim, and have you had him on yet for this season?
We had him on, a couple of days ago.
Because he may have already said to you that he was wearing gorgeous David Dawson.
Yes.
So there's something really stunning about that, continuation of that character, that this is a son stepping into his father's shoes. And you do just see him really honoring him in every way, and so gorgeous. I remember him telling David, I get to wear your crown. And we cannot even begin to go into how sensational David Dawson is. I mean, you say that in any interview I do, I'm like, hello, like give that man every possible.
And for the scene with him and Uhtred meeting to be one of the last flashback scenes, because David Dawson in building this show deserves so much credit too from seasons 1 through 3. And even though he didn't make it to the end of 5, to have him there in one of the last scenes Uhtred remembers is so fitting.
That's when I started to bawl my eyes out. I thought this is crazy. And it's because of David that this show is so special and so beloved, because I feel like he really gave, there you have this phenomenal, powerful king, just like King Edward. And I love that they're both so similar in that vein, that Timothy took on that same attitude, the power and everything. But with King Alfred, there is this man who is ruthless, who will do anything it takes to get, everything together, that kingdom, and is so dutiful. But I just think he gave it so much heart, so much nuance. Again, there was just, he could just have a flicker in his eye and you could see a million things. It was just like, and yet he always said, this was really, really cool thing David said about his research in King Alfred. Even in season 1, he used to say King Alfred, because he was also suffering from his sort of bowel conditions in his that was a thing in history. Everyone knew that he was always very ill. He was always couldn't eat certain things, and they're on the battlefield, but also probably wanting to spew his guts out, like how hardcore that is. And he always used to say he might be the weakest physically in the room, but he is always the strongest, like intellectually. So true. And that power always then took him above everybody else, even though he wasn't the most brawny or muscly. It didn't matter. He was the most intelligent and therefore the most fierce and therefore the most powerful. And it's like, so true. And he played it so beautifully like that. It was, none of us can even get over it. We're always like,
no, we can't either. We hope someday to get to pick his brain about it, because he was amazing. He's so awesome.
Get to talk to him, you will believe again, another transformer. He is just, knowing David in real life like that is just amazing. But
speaking of just big moments and satisfying moments, you are there at Bebbanburg when Uhtred gets recognized as a guy who's really helped everyone out, and he gets Bebbanburg. He gets to go for Bebbanburg. What was it like being on set and filming those scenes?
Sort of like a Return of the Jedi moment, a little bit.
It literally was like that. And I think for that, it was a beautiful day, because we didn't film. It wasn't like I think it was one of the last scenes of the last couple of weeks, maybe, but it wasn't like the last scene. So
gotcha.
In a way, we were saying goodbye, but we still had, as us as just humans, not even just the characters, we were still like, being together a bit longer. but there was something so gorgeous. It was more like a party vibe. Like we were all there. We were just all there. And it was just stunning to see then Alexander go up to the top and be with Tim, and then be like, Wah! And then he looked back at all of us, and we did loads of different takes where he was just like, we were like, or like, Uchet. We did loads of different ones, and then we were just like dancing. It was just crazy. And obviously, annoyingly, because when the camera was on me, I was like, damn it, Lady Aelswith wouldn't dance. So everyone else was just like doing
their thing. No. And that's so anti-Eliza.
But Eliza would dance.
I want to play. Like everyone else was like hugging. The Vikings were like all hugging, and you had Purelic, Aldhelm, they're all hugging. Little, Citric, Finnan, they're all like, going crazy. And I was just there going, just a wry smile, just a small.
And just dying inside a little bit.
That's dedication, Eliza. That's dedication.
That's amazing acting, Eliza.
What would my character do? Oh, damn it. She wouldn't go like this. So I had to be careful. So I was going. Nice. But no, that was such a gorgeous scene, such a lovely scene. And I'm just blown away by them all. And it was such a lovely way to end that season. I think him going to Bebbanburg, because that is the whole fight constantly, will he get there? And another amazing character that I loved is Whitgar, that being Uhtred's cousin, who's always, just as, you think Uhtred's going to get Bebbanburg, his cousin comes back and, steals it all the time. Mm-hmm. And again, Ocean Perret, who plays him, is so gorgeous and wonderful. And again, another Transformer. He's nothing like that. He's the sweetest human being, like ever. And I just loved what they did as well. And that, there's yet another person for Uhtred to have to get through. It's like he's like wading through a maze of just hell. Yeah. Just when you think he might be getting close, somebody else gets in the way, and you're like, no. And also, can we talk about how Hild comes back?
Oh yeah,
yes, we love Hild. Hild is bae.
Yes. Hild is back. We love Hild. Hild is phenomenal, and gorgeous Eva Berthasol is just amazing. And so that was really, really lovely. And just so cool to see how it ended. And I just thought Ethelhelm was such a fabulous antagonist. I just thought he was really, that scene where he goes a bit animalistic and is almost like howling, when Bressel's behind him, and he's just morphs. He's like, and he's like breathing and screaming in the weirdest way.
Yes.
And you see him then just compose himself into this. He's like, now I know what I'm going to do. But it's just like, seeing this morph into that is just mad.
We talked to Harry Anton. I was like, what was it like to be there at that moment? Was that actually scary? Because that was watching it, I was just like, okay, I might get under the covers here a little bit.
That was, did he say it was terrifying?
Yeah, he made a joke about it.
He said it was awesome.
He said it was awesome. He said just it was incredible to work with Adrian Schiller.
Phenomenal. Gosh, they all are. Honestly, I feel like I say this a lot because The Last Kingdom was sort of one of my first proper jobs, and I got to grow up on this job, and so kindly let me carry on. Like each season that would go by, I honestly just thought, well, I'm not going to be in this one, and not because I just thought, well, the storyline, surely how could Aelswith be fitted into this? And they always made a way to have her incorporated, which always just used to honestly blow me away. And I always used to be so ecstatic, and I just could never believe it. So then to grow up on the show and then watch all these extraordinary actors coming in, like Adrian Schiller, David Dawson, and just Harry McIntyre as Ethelwald, and all the fabulous Scandinavian actors that we've had, Tobias Santelman and Julia Pestura, and you're just like, what? So I think watching them all constantly and then getting to watch them on screen and go, oh damn, you really learn as an actor what to do. So I feel like season 5, in a sense, I was luckily way more in tune of what I knew this character to be more than ever, in a sense, but then was also luckily given the themes of her being a lot kinder, and to be able to infuse what I had been portraying her as before, which had all these dimensions, but then to add loads of other layers was just the nicest thing to have been done.
In the books, Lady Aelswith, I think Uhtred says after Alfred dies, I think at some point in the book I remember reading, it was and that was the last time I saw Lady Aelswith. But then she's just gone. But then you get to have sort of a redemption in season 4 then with your character, and now you've moved into Bevember. So I mean, like,
crazy.
It's just bonkers, and I just love that about the way they show that. They just totally, take things, but then they twist it. And I think it's nice because if you were a big fan of the books, you'd obviously assume, okay, that's the end of this person, and we're never gonna. But no, you then watch the show and you're like, whoa, we never knew that was going to happen. And if anything, they could take full liberty with Aelswith because she's not written about anymore. They could go, what should we do? Let's have a killer guy. Yeah. Let's have a killer guy, because they can do whatever they want. So in a way, it was perfect because they had full freedom with the, full license to do anything, which was great, for me as well. So I just loved that they trusted me to then add all the other elements along the way, and that was just gorgeous. But
you mentioned too, like you grew up on the show, like this, what you started filming back in 2014 or
I was 21 when I started shooting, and I was 27 when we finished season 5. And then I just turned 28 a couple months, a month or so after that. So I was still 27 when I was playing a grandma, which cracks me up. It was just so cool to properly grow up on that. But we all did. We absolutely all did. When I look back at season 2, when like Millie came in as Ethel, she was playing sort of 15 years old. And at that point, she was probably about 21 or something, playing about 15. And she was just so brilliant. And now looking at her as this mother, when you look at season 2 versus season 5 for her character as well, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. And then you see this really powerful woman who's got all these responsibilities on her shoulders. She's got so much to think about, and she's doing the most amazing job. She's being the leader of Mercia. And I don't know, I just find it amazing just to see the transitions of everybody.
Totally.
Same with Tim as well. When Tim comes in season 3, he's again such a young, sweet, sprightly, young boy who's like looking up at his dad going, I can't be just like, do I really have to do that? You want me to take over? Oh my God, I don't know how to do that. Yeah. And now, boom, season 5, he's like, oh, fuck, well, you're like, hey, he's there on the throne, like, and what? Like, oh my God, I just love it.
He wields it.
Literally.
Remember Citriger. Remember those?
Yeah, remember those I have crushed.
Oh, that was a good line.
And when he owns,
I genuinely was like, oh shit.
Oh shit! Like I actually need to leave. Like Timothy's going crazy.
He's going crazy. I was like, son, what are you doing?
Was there anything big though that you pulled going from you were 21 starting out to you're 27 now, and you've gone from the a wife to grandmother? Like, was there anything from your own life that you pulled in with experience or anything?
That is a very good question. And weirdly, kind of. The only thing I could think about was because I've obviously I never, had a husband or, had children. So to call upon stuff to then act with, I feel like I just tried to almost bring in my own mother into it. Although my mother is obviously nothing like Aelswith, but my mother is extremely maternal, extremely warm, extremely protective. So the only sort of, reference points would be like my own mother in a weird way. And my mom was like this gorgeous American woman from Iowa. She's nothing like Aelswith, but she's ever so cute. And I just think it's just the maternal warmth and stuff. But then at the same time, this strength that my mother definitely has. I feel like that's the only kind of reference point I kind of had. But I was quite lucky at drama school. I played a lot of mothers and older characters. Even though I was the youngest person in my year, I did luckily get given those roles. So I almost feel like that set me up to then feel comfortable in a role like Aelswith, who does, demand a lot of, respect, and she's very powerful, she's very strong. But I often say it in natural life, I'm quite like a bit silly. And then as Aelswith, I've got to be the opposite. I've got to just, root it down. So it's so nice to get to go in a completely different direction. I just really enjoy that as an actor. Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. And I love to see, like, yes, she does change. Like she is now like siding with Uhtred, which is such a change from season 1, but she's still the same person. She still has a lot of snarky comments. It feels natural. She still will yell at Edith when she's frustrated and be kind of mean. She
always took it out for Edith, who is just so fantastic. Like Edith, the purest of heart, like just such a beautiful character. And Stephanie was unbelievable. Just so lovely. I loved all of her scenes. just really crazy that she would always go like around the campfire. She's like, he has planned the kidnapping of Lady, a former queen.
Yeah. He didn't know you were going to be here.
Like this, she's looking at her like, yeah, what am I? And she's like, well. And to think Edith done everything. Edith is very much on a parallel with Uhtred, I think, in that sense, like someone who has a big heart, who can easily forgive people, and yet still does the right thing, and still, like, even though she, like Lady Aelswith, all of her thwarts at Edith, she could easily have gone, okay, also, fuck you guys, I'm off because you don't respect me and you're not valuing my time, my energy, and I've done everything I can for you. So in a way, she's really similar to Uhtred, I think, because there is that sense of she's still relentlessly loyal to what is right. And I think that's so gorgeous about Last Kingdom. There's a lot of characters who are just to their core wonderfully lovely. We've got loads of villains, we've got loads of really calculating people who are really, vicious and malicious, but there are so many just good hearted people. Finan being one, Aldhelm is another one, another loyal, dutiful.
Yes.
Aldhelm is
I think that's why we love the show, is just because, Steve and I are brothers, we're best friends, and we love camaraderie. We're sensitive to that. And the show has so much of it, and it looks like, even off the camera, that you guys have that. And I think that's what makes this show, on that level, it makes it so good, and that so many people can relate and love it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you've said that beautifully, because I think you're so right. You can see it on the screen, and it is that way in real life. We are lucky. We are all so close, and I don't think I'll ever I feel that in another show. I mean, I hope I do, but there's something so special about that. And no matter where we all go now, we're all on different paths and different things will all happen to us. I always feel like, anyway, we can all come back together and just be one big family unit. I know that's very kumbaya kind of thing, but I just love everyone on that show, and I think it's really special, and you can definitely see it on screen. And I agree. I think there's something really lovely as well about the warrior men being very sensitive and vulnerable. I may have said that to you guys in our last interview, but this idea that Uhtred just, in 1 minute could be slaying someone and the next crying his eyes out, and that's beautiful to see a man in every way powerful and strong. But yet his power and strength also lies in the vulnerability and sensitivity, his ability to just feel the emotions. He's not someone who's so, I guess, masculine in the sense that I don't cry, I don't, no, he does it all. And he loves so tenderly, like those scenes with Uhtred and Ethelfled when she's dying in the snow. They kill me.
Oh my God.
How beautiful. There you have this man who is, very powerful and whatever, but now he's in the snow with this beautiful, delicate angel who's also extremely powerful and fierce in her own right. But there they are in their most delicate, both of them. And I think that's what's so special about the show, is that no one is one dimensional. Everybody has a million facets. And just when you think you've worked somebody out, they change. Just like with Aelswith, just when you think, she's just X, Y, Z. No, she's not. She's this as well, because we get to see that in the character. Totally. Like, that's what, for me, as like an audience member watching it, I'm like, damn, just, getting to see people change and morph all the time. And even like, I have to obviously also talk about like Stiora and amazing Ruby Hartley, just like freaking out this world again, like wow. How heartbreaking it is for her character to see her own father have to kill Sigtrygr, the love of her life. Like, there's so many dynamics where you're just like, you really just never know what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, it's true. Now, talking about all this camaraderie and the you said you might never feel this again. Hopefully you do. But what was it like? And maybe you didn't know at the time, because the movie was going to be happening, that it would be your last day on the set of The Last Kingdom, or maybe you just were unsure. But what was it like the last day?
I was a mess. I decided I didn't know what they were going to do with the movie. So in my head, I thought, well, I might not be in the movie. I didn't know I was going to obviously get this other job or not be available, which obviously broke my heart because we tried everything. It was just like, no. But with the, knowing it was still potentially all of our last days on set, we were a mess. We were all hugging each other. I was actually outside the Bebenber set when that happened. My last scene was actually, there's a small moment where Edward is walking towards the gates of Bebenber and we're all with him. And it's like Edith and I, and we're just
and
like,
Finnan too.
Finnan. It's the four of us, and we're walking towards the gates and everything. And that was like our last moment together. And it was just like, damn, okay. And then they said, and they've got the microphone. They're like, and that's a wrap on Eliza Butterworth, Lady Aelswith. And that was like the last time I'd ever hear that's the wrap on her. And I was like, I'll never get to do this ever again. And it honestly was super heartbreaking, I suppose, because it was like nearly 8 years of my life, and knowing all the cast so deeply and beautifully, it just, that kind of stuff, it just hits you hard. And knowing that like it was really then recognized as such a special show. It was like, I don't know. I was like, I hope this doesn't end, because I'm a fan. Like, I was like, even if I'm not in it, I want it to carry on. Like, I'd happily, even though I'm not in it anymore, like if they did season 6, 7, 8, 9, I'd be like, yes. I don't know, just because I just think it is just so awesome. And we were all in tears. We were all just like, but then it couldn't have ended in a more beautiful way. So I only look at it with just such happiness. It's just so great.
That's wonderful.
Producers congratulating them as well, because they've been with us obviously for this is their baby, and so talking to them and just saying how proud we are of them for doing this whole show. It's huge. So we've loved it. We just loved it.
One of my other favorite shows is Psych, and their season wrapped like years ago, but they keep dropping movies every now and then. So I'm kind of thinking
like that.
Last Kingdom, maybe a movie. If they were to do another one, and you were available, would you show up with the feet up in November?
I want to be the lead in The Last Daughter, which is the new script for The Last Daughter. It features Aelswith, Elfwin,
Warrior,
Warrior Aelswith, and all the women in the show. They're just like
amazing.
The Last Daughter.
Awesome.
So no, it would be incredible if it ever went anywhere else. But again, I feel like because it's ended in such a wonderful way, I feel like that's such a lovely way for the fans to remember it. There's always this thing, the way you remember a show is very important. And I must say, I need to watch Game of Thrones, and I haven't, because I think I would love it.
You should.
I think I would adore it. And this
is good.
Instead of like, potentially the way shows end, that's the way an audience is left with a thought about something. Obviously, I've not seen so much I haven't seen, but it's just nice that this one at least has been left with such a great.
Well, we were nervous. We were nervous going into season 5, knowing it was going to be the last one, because we have
huge fans.
Yeah, we have had other things like Star Wars and Game of Thrones, which we loved, and the endings have tainted it. To be honest, tainted it a little bit for us. And we were pretty sure Last Kingdom. It's never let us down, right? It's never let us down. But we were, of course, nervous. And it was so incredibly satisfying. And we were rewatching it again. We're even more satisfied than the first time we watched it. It's aging really well so far with us after watching it again.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I just say that you both are the most incredible human beings, and like the passion and the care that you have for our show is just blows me away. Like, you're so astonishing. I watch all your videos, and the way you interview all of the cast is like unbelievable, and you're my favorite interviewers of all time. I wish you could interview every actor on the planet, because you know everything, and you have so much care for us, and you really step into our shoes, into our minds as actors, like how it must feel for us to play emotions, how it must feel for us to say goodbye to something. And like, you're just both phenomenal. I just wanted to tell you that I just love what you do, and I love the way you care for our show and care for us and our journeys within it. I think that's just so stunning and special, and I just wanted to say that you're both fantastic. And honestly, it's such an honor to get to talk to you about everything again.
This is our favorite show. I like this. For us, this is like I don't know, like getting talked to like Mark Hamill or something like that when we talk to like Runa Temple. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is.
Oh,
so
guys, honestly, you can see your love for it. And like because I watched your interviews with the actors, but also like the recap videos too.
Oh.
I just love every element because I can see you really have gone into detail, but you feel everything for the characters too. That's how much you care. You love every aspect of the show, and I'm like, wow. But it's just that the gorgeous way that you both interview the actors, I just think is amazing. So just thank you.
That means so much to us, Eliza.
Yeah.
Now I got to ask you this now.
Yes.
Are you a master horse rider now? Because you get a couple more scenes. We talked about it in the last one, how you were a little nervous to ride the horse in the last one.
I was nervous. I wish I could say I am now a pro equine individual. I'm still terrible. I am I'd say 10% better than I was last time though. I definitely feel a lot more comfortable on the horse. I was definitely at one with my gorgeous horse. But I think it's getting off the horse that a lot of the other actors would probably say if they were in a scene with me. Getting off the horse is like the most hilarious thing to watch because I have like 3 layers on and huge skirts and all this. So it was always hilarious watching me get off the horse. But can I say who is phenomenal at getting off a horse is James Northcote, who plays Aldhel. Who is also literally one of my favorite actors on the whole planet. He is astonishing. He's extraordinary and he's so wonderful. But the way he gets off a horse is just seamless, like a ninja. He does this thing, he like swishes his cape and just elegantly drops off the horse. And you're like, what? It's just stunning. And there was a scene where that happened. They filmed him getting off the horse, but they didn't keep it in the show. We were all like, no. We were like waiting for the big horse like moment, him getting off the horse. So we were like gutted. He didn't get off the horse. But also, can I just say that James Northcote and his amazing wife, Libby, they both, obviously both phenomenal actors. They both also did the like social media back behind the scenes stuff with all those actors throughout the entire season, and like all the stunning photography that James and Libby took is just out of this world. A lot of it is the beautiful black and white photography that you may have seen. James shares it a lot, and sometimes
incredibly talented
as well. But yeah, it's just the both of them are amazing, and I just think for them to have captured that final season is ever the more special that it was from them. And yeah, just beautiful. So if anyone's watching this and you haven't seen James Northcote's and Libby's photographs and their videos, everything, they did it all. They did it all.
Wow,
and
that's cool.
And yeah, they just captured everything behind the scenes. So that was just beautiful. Yeah.
There was a lot more like behind the scenes stuff too this season. I thought I feel like it's every single day I see a new one and it's awesome. I'm like, another one.
Juicy stuff.
Definitely. I think we luckily we were taking a lot more videos because knowing it was probably our last time, we really capture every moment together and like all the silliness, because it's honestly the most fun job ever. I often used to pinch myself and be like, this is a job. Like I would, because I don't come from an acting background in any sense. My mother was a nurse, my dad was a pilot, and I'm an only child. I don't have any reference of acting. Some of my cousins are really talented actors and singers and stuff, but in terms of like my immediate family, I wasn't raised in an acting world. So then to get to do that on set and call it a job, it's just like, cool. It's really crazy. But yeah, it was nice to have more behind the scenes moments for sure, because we just knew how special it was going to be. That's for sure.
That's cool. That's cool. And you got to go to Blood Month Festival.
Oh yeah,
that must have been wild.
I loved watching those scenes on the TV. I was like, oh my god, the Blood Month with Ethel and the crazy, I think it was like a deer's head, the thing you had to put on to go into the forest. Oh my god, it was wild. I unfortunately was only in a teensy, I didn't get to see a load. I got to see the wonderful Patrick Robinson, who played Father Benedict, who's is just a fabulous, amazing new character. He was brilliant, and I got to watch him do his hilarious speech. He had like a chalice, and he was doing this hilarious speech. But I didn't get to actually see the bit with the deer with Ethel's and stuff. I wish, but I got to watch it. I was like, that is just the coolest thing. It was so cool. Yeah,
I love to you. Like somebody comes up to you. You have a line too at the beginning of that where you're just like, maybe I could avoid people or the commoners or something.
Oh, the commoners.
And you're like, so I don't pass my affliction on to them, but you really just don't want to see anybody.
I'm like, don't touch me. Do not touch me. Okay?
Yeah. And somebody comes up to try to touch you and you're like, oh.
From the get-go, there's so many comedic moments. It was just crazy, just crazy. But I love that there was the festival to begin the whole season. And there was just so many awesome just moments throughout the whole thing. And again, like you just didn't know where everything was going to come from. And oh my God, can I just say the opening of the whole show being the freaking volcano with Breda and her beloveds. And oh my gosh, I have to say the biggest shout out, obviously, to Emily Cox, who plays Breda, because she is astronomically talented. It's ridiculous. And all of her stuff, especially even at the end when she gets killed, is just heartbreaking, gorgeous. And I love that was the opening shot, her with the volcano. I as a fan audience was like, okay, like I turned it on and I got shivers. I was like, what?
Here we go.
One of the most amazing parts of that also is that Ivor is our singer in the whole. So all the episodes, Ivor does the singing, and there she is with the drum singing live. With her amazing voice, which is like nothing I've ever heard in my life. And I think it's the music has, without a doubt, made the show what it is, because it just completely takes you into that beautiful world. Her voice, she does the stuff when people are dying, her voice, she does the singing of that, and then she does the really big battle stuff, and then like anything. And she does our intro, our opening. So that's we all try and do it, but we can't do it.
It's iconic now. It's iconic now.
It's iconic. Every time the last kid goes singing. But she's amazing. And so she is singing it by the volcano, and that to me is like the best opening we could have ever wanted. When they told us that was going to be her doing it, we were like, what? So any really, really big fans of the show that are also big fans of her would have probably, seen her there dressed in the furs, the incredible hairstyle. And that was gorgeous. Can I ask you both, who was your favorite character this season, or the favorite trajectory, or kind of, moment that you were just like, whoa, this is just crazy? Although that's a really hard.
I think in terms of new characters, because obviously Uhtred and Finan, and they're always going to be the favorite. Edward too kind of came into own this season.
Edward for me this season.
For you.
Edward's great.
His moment at Mercia when he has the elder men killed and he just sits on the throne. I was like, I'm normally not like a political, normally the political stuff in the show, I love it, but it's normally like, all right, Uhtred, go back to battle. When Edward though, and he just sits his ass on the throne, that was amazing.
Comfortable.
He was just like, no drama. This is mine.
He owns that whole thing, and everybody's just like freaking out, and he's like, yeah, I did it. What are you gonna do about it?
That was amazing. But besides the end, Bebbanburg and Uhtred, all the amazing that stuff. Obviously, that but that moment, I was like, holy cow! That was awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I think he was just remarkable as Edward, and Tim Beaton is just phenomenal. And I agree. I think that sitting in that power all the time, you're just like, what? You just can't believe he's getting away with it. But again, these kings and these queens, they have such responsibility, so they have to come at these decisions in the craziest of ways, but they can see beyond that.
Totally.
This decision, they're like, yes, it looks bad now, but in the future, such and such and such and such is going to happen. It's even nice that Aelswith can say, oi, I think you're going a bit crazy, rein it in, She's the only one that can kind of get to him like that. She's seen it all. She was the confidant of King Alfred, was right by his side. So to then be that for her son was really gorgeous, and a really lovely bond between daughter and son, so brother and sister. King Edward and Ethelfled, their bond is really cool. In season 4, they're always sort of going against each other, and it's like, one's got this kingdom, the other's got this kingdom. Now and then they're together, now and then they've got an alliance, and then sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're really not helping one another, and you kind of think, what? But then by the end, obviously, that was just beautiful when Tim goes up to Edward goes up to Ethelfled, and it's just like, I wished I could have done more, and
sure.
Like, oh God, it's so heartbreaking. So heartbreaking.
I think for me too, this season, characters that I love, some of the new ones that I really loved, it comes down for me between Ethelstan, I think, and honestly Constantine. What happened with Constantine was we watched the show. I watched it a little bit before Steve because we were going to have some guests coming on a couple of days after the season came out. So we had
it like twice as fast as I did.
I had to get through it, and so
Can I ask, how do you guys go about doing your research in terms of, not research, but like, do you write stuff down? So like you watch an episode and you'll be like, oh, this moment, this moment, this moment.
Not the first time. The first time we just enjoy it. Good. The first time we go back to how we always watched it. We enjoy it. We don't think too much. Good. And then when we go back and rewatch, that's when we start. Yeah. And we pick up on little things. But we do put the time in to rewatch and
this season I didn't take as many notes just because I watched it so many times, and then we filmed our reactions the first time we watched it. Yes. So like I had some reference to like how I thought and stuff before to pull from. But like before it would be we watch it and we'd go back and be like, all right, let's take some notes and make sure to see what we missed. That sort of thing. Yeah.
And we pick up on things because when we do our episode recaps, we rewatch and we really that's when we take notes and little details and try to encompass it all. Of course, there's so much that sometimes we miss stuff, but it's really it's awesome. But with Constantine, I watched it, and I think one of the first things I did after the season ended was I messaged Rod Hallett because I texted Steve. I said, dude, you're going to love this. I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a character you're going to absolutely love toward the last few episodes of the season. And he was so cool because he was really interesting as a character. He's also likable as a character after that scene with Aelfwin.
Yeah, and with Aelfwin.
And he was also kind of, although he had bits of like Dane and maybe Saxon, he was also new and fresh, like a new sort of group of people, like kind of personality, I guess. So
I completely agree.
But I also loved Ethelstan because I was really anticipating him, and Harry Gilby absolutely killed it this season. I'm so excited to see more of him in the movie. Yeah. And so I'd say for me, and you ask my favorite ones from this season, those two stand out. And of course, Sigtrygr had an amazing outing. He stood out too.
Oh yeah.
Hard to pick one.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of these. I'd say all those three, Sigtrygr, Ethelstan, and Constantine as well. And I agree. I like that there's this new fusion of worlds. So I think it was in season 4 that we had the Welsh. I think it was in season 4 that the Welsh came in. So we've never had the Scots. We've never really had their side of things in terms of like the United Kingdom or, Britain as we know it today. Obviously there's all the we've got all these other amazing countries around. So to have the Welsh and now to have the Scots was really, really cool. But we don't think we've ever had the Irish necessarily. But we've
had bits of the Irish.
But yeah, we have had bits of the Irish, haven't we? In
Finnan. Finnan is Irish, but
totally. Finnan is the Irish,
and Sigtrygr and Rongvalder came from Ireland, and like they mention the Irish, they're like that's why they're so good is because the Irish are tough bastards or something that Finnan said in season 4. So and in the book, in the books, I know Ireland has a bigger presence. Like the Irish, I think a group of them come over. It's definitely a bigger presence in the books.
1,000%.
I think Steor and Sigtrygr are living in Ireland at one point. So
really, oh my god, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Instead of I think they are instead of Jorvik at the beginning of season 5, they're in Ireland, and then they come over. So.
Also speaking of Rongvalder, how fabulous was he as a brand new character? Like
he was awesome.
Amazing, cool guy. Like it was just so good. And Mickey Stock, who played him, he is absolutely awesome. And I just love that you saw then another like brotherly dynamic again. That the family is the thing that can sort of make or break you. But again, it's your family getting in the way. Same with like Steor and Uhtred, your family's always getting in the way. And I love that about The Last Kingdom. It always comes back to family. It does. We're all so interconnected in that sense. So, and even family getting in the way of, like, as we were saying earlier, Uhtred killing Sigtrygr, that's her father doing that. And, a family getting in the way, it's me and saying to Edward, please do this. Or, then it's Uhtred's cousin getting in the way.
Yeah, of course.
It's always just like, or even, my own, I suppose, because we share the same grandsons, obviously, Ethelhelm and I, but again, it's family is getting in the way. It's like, God damn it, what would I call him? He's my because he's not my grandfather-in-law, but he's like a married in he's some form of in-law, us both being the grandparents. Children. Yeah, he's some form of, but again, I love that it's always a family dynamic that is the thing that can get in the way, or obviously support and save, but that it's the challenges between family members.
Yeah, and biological family, and then you see the other families form, like the amazing moment where Edward says to Uhtred about Osferth, about how like he was my blood, but he was your true brother. It was such a great line. It was a bro moment for us. It was
I completely agree.
So
easy not to forget that, but obviously Osferth is King Alfred's firstborn child in a sense. It's like this thing of, I think I remember in your season 6 recap you saying that they're both the bastards, Ethelstan and Osferth. So of course they've got a natural affiliation. Sort of cast away because they were not under the, their parents weren't married when the child was born. I guess the sense of them feeling a bit alienated via this way the royals conduct themselves, but actually they were the firstborns, and Osferth dying was just you and Mitch. And it's just an unbelievably extraordinary actor. He is so phenomenal. I can never with him. I just love him. And I love that he even has some really funny moments in certain scenes. Like, one of my favorites is that I will smite you, which I think is in season 4. Just makes you laugh so much. When he goes and tries to like kill something.
Oh, season 3, when he goes with
and they're like,
where
what
Skate
you
is,
It's Skate.
That was amazing.
But again, first death was heartbreaking, and it feels like every death that The Last Kingdom does, they really like honor the characters, like Beocra's death, and everybody they've just had. It's just tragically heartbreaking. It's just
totally.
I never get over the deaths. In a way, I'm so lucky I haven't died. I was like waiting.
Well, I was going to ask you.
And then Aelswith dies, but no, I'm still here.
Did you know when season 4 wrapped that you weren't going to die because it was kind of left in limbo, or did you find out?
I was going to die, so I remember it was left in limbo, and I thought, well, it's up to the writers and producers to decide, because they could go either way here. So I honestly thought, even when they were like, you will be in season 5, I was quite shocked. I thought maybe in episode 1 or 2 they then have the scene of me dying.
That's what I was thinking.
She'll see me, but then I die. But no, instead she's off doing and she's off doing an unimaginable thing you could ever think of. I mean, it's so brilliant that they can do so much then with the characters. I just love that.
I think it's got to be a testament, Eliza, to what a wonderful job you did, just because truly you were amazing. Your character growth was amazing on the show, and I think they just wanted to keep you around. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, obviously you had a critical part in the role, but we were so happy that you made it to the end. And
guys, thank you. And we just loved every minute of it. I guess it's just been such a huge adventure. I'm hoping this summer to have like a big Last Kingdom party, but with all of the cast from all the seasons. So like everybody, like the amazing David, amazing Harry McIntyre, like everybody possible that's around. I'm like, just come out,
You'll have to do Last Kingdom reunions. Amazing. You'll have to do reunions like every 5 years or every year. I don't know.
Amazing. And like you like fly in the Scandinavian actors from Norway and Denmark, because we're all over the world in a sense.
That's cool.
But that would honestly just be so epic. Just to have one big old celebration. Maybe what I could do is we could all watch the new movie when it comes out together as well.
That's a good idea.
Reunion night, just like get a big projector and watch it together somewhere. That would be really, really nice.
Cool. Now looking back, now that it's over, right now that season 5 has ended, looking back at all 5 seasons, and this is probably a difficult question, but are there any moments from any of the seasons that are maybe closest to your heart, or that you're going to really cherish? And I'm sure there's a lot of them, but are there any that stick out to you?
The major one being the David Dawson, that his death scene, I think, was just so heartbreaking, because again, saying goodbye to having only been by David's side as an actor as well, in 15 whole seasons of something, and then to say goodbye. And we actually didn't think we did not think we were going to get season 4, but we didn't know at that point. We were in a limbo. So to then look at him and get to act alongside him throughout all that time, and then be the one there, and his death scene was just like honestly unbelievable. And I actually also that same day the scene between Uhtred and Alfred was filmed. I got to just watch it on the monitor. I was just like live there watching it. And I just remember thinking, this is stunning. Like, it's just stunning. It was just so moving and monumentous. And I think that there's a really sweet video that somebody took that I probably posted a long time ago of the when they wrapped that scene. That was actually David's final scene. So that's when they said, and that's a wrap on David Dawson in The Last Kingdom. And Alex was obviously there because we were just doing that scene, and we all just burst into tears. And then I ran in from the monitor and grabbed both of them.
Group hug.
Really sweet video of the three of us just like really soft. And then what was really cute is that a lot of the cast got told that's David's last scene today. If you want to come in and just say goodbye. So then all of a sudden the doors like blew open, and then like Harry McIntyre ran in, Mark Rowley ran in. They were like, all hugging him. And it was just that's just such a pivotal moment to have watched in real time, but also to have been a part of, and then also to have just watched on screen. I think that to me stands out as like a phenomenal moment for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It was gorgeous.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
As a fan, was there any moment from this new season 5, that stood out to you?
I would say, because there are just so many.
Yeah.
So I think I just have always been a Sigtrygger fan. I could Sigtrygger. So I think his death was certainly something, and just all the scenes I think with him and with Ruby really stand out. But I think I'd say, okay, I've got 3. Can I do like 3 or 4?
You can do 3.
You can do 5 if you want.
Yay!
But no more than that.
No more than that. So that scene with Sigtrygger, basically anything Sigtrygger is involved in, I'm like, oh my God. Then the scene between Millie and Alex with Ethelfled and Uhtred's death, that just ripped me to shreds. Then Tim's play, because Timothy Innes is extraordinary. Play being King Edward's play. That's 3 moments, right? 3 moments. Other fabulous moments. I would say, just as an actor getting to do something, I loved being involved in the stabbing and Brestle, like just that whole forest situation was just so fun for me to do, and I did enjoy like watching it afterwards, because I was like, this is just hilarious. What the hell's going on? And then I'd say Adrian Schiller as Ethelhelm, like all his bits really. I mean, just like the psychosis of the guy. I mean, it's just just like mind blowing. The whole situation was just crazy. So I'd say they are my 5 top moments of this season. Although they're all top moments. I feel terrible even saying that, because they're all just
I know you can't even pick.
Anything to do with Breeder. Can I also add Breeder and
we'll check with the committee if you can allow if you can add it.
And add Breeder and Purely.
That's amazing. Everyone involved has done an amazing job to wrap the show up to be just so nice. And as sad as it is to end, I think sometimes it's better that way with shows, because when they go on and on and on, sometimes you lose the magic. But Last Kingdom now is always going to be, to us, just like perfectly wrapped with a bow. Like, it's just going to be there like that forever. And that's so special to us. So thank you for all the work you did on it.
Thank you guys, honestly, and it's because of you, and everyone that's so supportive of the show that it's carried on, that it's become this awesome thing. And so I just want to do a big shout out at the end, just to say a huge thank you to all of our fans. Honestly, this comes from me, but also the entire cast, production crew. Everybody is just like, we are honestly gobsmacked. We are just blown away by everything that the fans have done for us, and like people like you, Stephen Colby, just like giving us all of that care, that passion, that love for the show is just what has made it so special. And it's all down to you guys and the fans. So thank you.
And could you maybe tell the fans and everybody a little bit about what you're working on now, or if you can talk about it all?
Yes. So it's I'm filming in Tenerife, which is fabulous, and it's called A Town Called Malice, which is actually the title of the show is also the title of a really famous song by a British 80s band called The Jam. And if you've heard the song, you probably know it's like a really iconic song. So the song title is also the title of our show, A Town Called Malice. And of course, in keeping with that, it's set in the 80s. So we've got the most amazing hair, the amazing costumes, everything is so fabulous. And it follows this awesome family that are called the Lords, and they are in South London, and basically they're always involved in crime. They're a big crime family. And I'm part of the family. I'm married to one of the crime brothers, and they basically just trouble follows them wherever they go, and then they end up in the Costa del Sol, which is like, you know, part near Spain and everything, and it's just crazy, and it's just a really fabulous show, really gritty, thrilling, and it's just so much fun. And it's a very big contrast for me from Lady Aelswith to this, because my character is extremely glamorous. She's also from South London, so I get to talk like this. This is my voice in the show. I get to do a bit of an accent. Which is
nice.
Bit of South London. And then, so you just follow this crazy family, and we're all really glam, a lot of gold jewelry, a lot of fighting and crime, and it's really awesome. So that will be out on Sky next year. So we're shooting this until about the end of June, and then it will come out in 2023 on Sky Max, I believe.
Ooh, that's awesome.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
We'll be definitely looking for that. We'll definitely be looking for that. And are there any other projects you'd like to share here while you're on here? Or?
Nothing else in the pipeline apart from this for now. But okay. I'm luckily going to go to the States actually very soon to do a convention, hopefully, if that all still goes to plan. There's a convention called Sasnak City, and it's in Kansas City in Missouri. So Sasnak is Kansas backwards, which is really cool. And it's a really cool convention, like Comic-Con. So we've just got some of their actors there, which would be lovely. And I'm going to go to America to see my family. So that's
very, very nice.
Yeah, I haven't been there in years because of the Last Kingdom filming and stuff. That's always, and the pandemic, of course.
Of course.
I'm really excited. So I'm going to go to the States, and I'm going to eat loads of Fritos.
Fritos, okay.
Favorite snack in the world.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm a nut for Fritos.
And you don't have any access to them over there?
No access in the UK, but weirdly, they sell them in Tenerife. Okay, where I am right now, they sell Fritos, and I am so shocked, but they do not sell
good.
Unless you're in some like really bougie specific, like they have these like American superstores in London. They have these like little American boutique like corner stores, and you can get all the American candy. I'll get my junior mints, a Swedish fish, you know.
Okay. Interesting.
Bougie Swedish fish, bro.
Bougie Swedish fish.
Oh yeah. I love that. My mother's always so cute. Whenever we go to the movies, she'll get like the American candy, and she puts it in with the popcorn. It does all that.
Oh yeah. So she's a veteran.
She's a veteran. She's like,
she knows what she's doing.
Oh yeah. She even puts those like dots in with the popcorn. I'm like, I don't want dots in my popcorn. She's like, no. We've got to put the dots in.
She sounds like Buddy the Elf right now.
yeah.
The maple syrup.
The maple syrup on top. The spaghetti.
The spaghetti.
Awesome. Literally, but no, that'll be really fun. But yeah, otherwise just shooting for this job, and then also highly excited to see the new movie of The Last Kingdom. Great. 7 Kings Must Die, which is a very cool title, can we just say?
It's very cool title.
Yeah, it is a very cool title.
Yeah,
very cool title. But yeah, Steve, do you have any other last minute questions here? Or?
Also, questions. It's like, how come you guys are so amazing? It's question 1. And, and when are you going to interview every single actor in the world?
We're working on it. We're working on it here.
The fans get to see these interviews because you're the only interview platform that has pretty much interviewed like every Last Kingdom actor.
Like, we're just trying to get Alex. Really, we're just
for me, like it's like we're just getting to talk to people from like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or something. So it's like, I'm going to talk to every single person I can, and they keep saying yes. So I'm going to keep.
Obviously, but you
just love it.
You're both so extraordinary, and it's just the way you go about, interviewing, and it's just the detail you put in, and the care, and it's also you're so hilarious, and you're just so warm and fun. So I always just look forward to it because I'm like, I get to just chat to Colby and Steve.
Oh,
I just know
means a lot. That means a lot.
Honestly, thank you for everything, because
thank you.
I could just see the love and the care, and it's just gorgeous. And I love
you.
They're the best.
Thank you. Well, so thank you everybody for listening. Did you want to say something? Go ahead, Eliza.
Well, Colby and Steve, I wanted to say that obviously together we have to say destiny.
Yes.
Is all.
We need to say it. All right, we'll say it right here.
Ready?
Thank you, everybody. Let's say it right at the end. Ready? Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you like, comment, and subscribe. And all of Eliza's links are down below. Check them out. Eliza is amazing as always. And like we always say, goodbye. And of course,
Destiny is all.